Okay, so you can have any new file opened here with your either basic or regular template. And then I'm going to start by just drawing a triangle. So I have this triangle here, and let's say we now have a line. I'm going to put a line right here, and then I want to mirror this triangle on the other side of this line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the objects that I want to mirror. I'm going to type mirror. So that's our first command for today. The shortcut for it is just MI. And whenever we're mirroring an object, we need to specify our mirror line. So that's the next thing that it's asking us to do. And so in this case, our mirror line is going to be this line right here. So I'm going to click this line. I'm just going to go top, and then you can click anywhere on the line. It's just basically looking for an angle for the two objects. So hit OK, and we can see we have our shape mirrored there. Now our mirror line doesn't have to be straight. Say we have a more angled one here, so I'll do that again, except this time specify angle here. I can mirror there. That's pretty much it. Pretty self-explanatory. Command. So mirror, you think, well, why can't I just rotate something? Why do I have to use mirror? Well, mirror will make things perfectly symmetrical, whereas if I had I'm going to copy this here. If I were to say take this object and say I just want to have one over here, and I think, oh, instead of mirror, I'm just going to try rotate. And I'll choose kind of the center point here as my rotate, and then rotate it all the way around. We can see, I didn't copy my object, but that triangle will now be upside down. Do that again. So we can see by taking this object and rotating it, now it's upside down on the other side as opposed to being mirrored or totally symmetrical. So mirror command, really, really powerful command. We'll be doing a lot of objects that have symmetry in them. If there's symmetry, that's your clue to use the mirror command. Make your life a whole lot easier as opposed to having to draw the same elements twice. So you can cut your work in half, basically, if you use the mirror command correctly. Our next command is the hatch command. So hatch is exciting because it's going to allow us to add a little color to our objects. Basically what hatch does, if those of you are familiar with painting software like Photoshop, there's that what they call paint bucket tool where you can fill objects with color. That's basically what the hatch command will do in CAD for us. So we'll punch in hatch. And it brings up this command bar up here, which gives us a few different options here. So the first one is what we're going to fill our objects with. So hatch will only work with closed objects. If you have an object that is not closed, and this will make CAD very angry. But if I have, what I think is a triangle, but they don't quite touch when I go to hatch this, like I say, it's like the paint bucket tool where you're just pouring paint in here, and that paint is going to leak out of this hole, and then it's going to start filling your entire document here, which goes on for infinity. So if you try to hatch objects that aren't closed, CAD will get mad at you. Yep, you do not want to make CAD angry. All right, so let's get back to our hatch here. So we're going to start by just doing solids. So this will just be solid colors. And I'm going to pick a color here of yellow. And looking at our command line here, we can see we're in our hatch command, and it's asking us to pick an internal point. Or, and it gives us a couple of other things, but for right now, we'll just look at pick internal point, which means I can pick the inside of any of my triangles here, and it will fill them. And I'm still in my hatch command, so I can keep on pouring. I can fill all my triangles. And when I'm done, if I try to fill it in here, see, CAD's angry. Do not make CAD angry. So it's telling me I don't have closed. And this is kind of a newer feature. It actually gives me these little red circles. You can't see them on my screen, but there's these little red circles indicating that that's where all my paint is spilling out. All right, and then everything that we've just hatched here, since I did all four at the same time, we can select our hatch. These are basically, hatches are separate objects in CAD, so I can take a hatch, I can go up here and edit it, I can hit delete to delete all my hatches. So anyway, we'll do a couple other different hatch samples here. So we'll do hatch again. Let's see. Here's a common error. So say we've got a rectangle and we have a circle. So I want to hatch, and let's say I want to just hatch this area without my circle. So when I click, I can see that it's filling the paint, but then the paint is coming across the line of my circle and then stopping, so it can't go inside my circle. Or what we can do is we can select a boundary. So right now we've been picking our points, but instead we can select a boundary, which will allow us to just select on an object. So I can select my entire rectangle, and now it's filled everything in the rectangle, including that circle there. Where this comes into use most often is, say I have some text right here, and I go to hatch this, and I'll hatch with a darker color here, red. So let's say I want to hatch this area. When I click it, see how it goes around my text? So say I don't really like that. I want my red to go behind my text as well. So that's an example here where we have to do our hatch and then just pick a boundary and do this red so you can see it. Select my boundary, and now my color is behind my text. Then we're going to have some kind of more artistic assignments coming up, and hatch is fun with that as well because we have other things we can do. For example, instead of just solid colors, we can do gradients. So a gradient allows us to pick multiple colors. So here I have blue and green, so that's kind of cool. Or we can do different options there. So these different options. And then I can go through and pick different gradient colors, like a nice sunset looking thing. And then there's also a lot of hatches that mean things. So if we actually go to hatches, our first option, and this is widely used in engineering and architecture. And believe it or not, all of these different hatches are like industry standardized that mean different things. So people that know architecture will see all these patterns and know exactly what they mean. So, you know, brick, brass, stone, all these things. These ones up here, ISO standards. So anyway, an example where that we will be using these is, say we're designing a lot and we want to have some grass. So to specify grass, we're going to go to G here. Of course, I'm going to want to make my lawn green, so we'll go green. And I'm going to select the area that I want to fit. So we can see here it started to put my industry standard symbol for grass in my triangle here. And what I can do now is, if I want to have more of them, I can change the scale of my grass. So let's say I like this, but I want to have it look more like there's lots of grass in here. So I can kind of make it smaller. So 0.1 here, makes this it's a little too small. So I can mess here with my scale, which is just scaling how your hatch is going to show up in your object. And so hatches, gradients, solids, that's about all we care about. So there you go, mirror and hatch. I think that's all you need to know for today. Any questions on either of those two commands?